Okay, first off, it's Nemacolin, not Nemacolin. God, who would make that, like, I wasn't calling it Nemacolin for the entire time I was there. Second, if you've never heard of Nemacolin, well, watch today's video. I don't know if I have ever been so caught off guard by a golf resort in my life. This place is ridiculous. Okay, so last week I went to Nemacolin Resort, which is about an hour and a half outside Pittsburgh in what's essentially the middle of nowhere. It's basically right on the border of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. I didn't really know a whole lot about it before going, but when I got there, oh my God, this place is insane. I don't say this with hyperbole or anything else. Like, I truly mean it when I say I don't know if I have ever been to a resort that has more to do and more activities than they have at Nemacolin. But today I'm going to share with you 10 reasons why Nemacolin is the most surprising resort I've ever been to. I'm going to talk about what you can do there. I'm going to talk about the golf, the accommodations, the lodgings, some of those little surprises that I wasn't expecting. So if you're looking for a luxury vacation, and trust me, this is luxury. This is not cheap. It's very fancy. But if you're looking for a high-end family vacation or a couple's retreat, keep watching. Just watch. You'll see. All right, number one, let's just jump into the obvious. This is a golf channel, so let's talk about the golf courses. And there are two wildly different golf courses. So the first one, and the more well-known of the two, opened up in 1995, and it's a Pete Dye course called Mystic Rock. This is a course that has routinely found itself among the top 100 public courses in the country, and it's very Pete Dye-esque. You get to the first hole, which is a short par 4, and you've got massive bunkers guarding the green. You've got this big green that's perched up. Like, it looks really cool. There's some PGA pedigree to the course. It held the '84 Lumber Classic from 2003 to 2006, and there have been a number of notable golfers and people that have played there over the years for different tournaments and events and things like that. Of the two courses, Mystic Rock is definitely the more championship golf course and arguably the more difficult of the two. The greens are actually a little bit easier. The greens are a little bit more benign, but you're going to have to be on point with your tee shots. I love the fact that it felt like there were like little surprises throughout the course. So for instance, the par 5 fifth hole was an awesome hole that had two separate greens, and the lower green also had a waterfall right next to it, and then a giant statue of John Daly right in the front, because why wouldn't you have a John Daly statue next to a waterfall? At the turn, there's a spot where there's a big island green where you can go out on the deck and try and hit it. I did hit it, by the way, got it to hold, which was kind of fun. And then you get to number 12, which is a really cool par 3 over water, which also has two separate greens. The entire course is memorable and fun, and it's very Pete Dye with some massive bunkers and some really unique holes that you just simply don't see very often. Shepherd's Rock is the other course, which opened up in 2017, and it's got the somewhat unfortunate distinction of being the very last Pete Dye course that he ever built before he passed away. And this course honestly could not be more different than Mystic Rock. Even though it's on the same piece of land, whereas Mystic Rock felt more like a championship golf course, Shepherd's Rock feels like true adventure golf. To me, I thought the course was more scenic. It feels like you're going over the river and through the woods and like you're going on an adventure, and I personally love that. The greens, a lot more going on. In some cases, maybe even a little over the top, but the greens are definitely where the defense is in Shepherd's Rock. The fairways are wider, and the tee shots and approach shots are generally definitely going to be easier than what you're going to find on Mystic, but when you get to the greens, well, good luck. For instance, the par 5 fourth hole, which is nicknamed Beast, is, well, exactly that. You look at the tee and you got to figure out, okay, am I going to go to the right of this bunker, the left of this bunker? And no matter where you go, you're still going to have a long ways to the green. If on the approach you hit the front of the green, you leave it just a little bit short, it's rolling all the way back down, like 80 yards. So even though the course is generally a little bit easier, it's still no slouch and you're going to have to hit some solid shots. There's definitely a little bit of quirkiness. There's some fairways that kind of look like this, and so it doesn't really matter where you hit it. The ball's going to kind of roll down into a little collection area. But many of those holes are visually interesting and a whole lot of fun because they're simply designs that I hadn't seen elsewhere, even if they weren't necessarily the most like strategic golf holes I've ever played. And when you throw in the massive golf academy there that have 4 fully featured TrackMan bays, swing catalyst systems, all sorts of tech, really you've got everything you could want from a golf perspective. But honestly, golf is just the tip of the iceberg at Nemacolin. The thing that surprised me the most, between both courses, guess how many rounds they get a year? 12,000 rounds a year. That's not on each course. That's 12,000 rounds total. Generally, it's about a 60-40 split, so Mystic gets about 7,000 rounds, and Shepherd's only gets about 5,000 rounds a year, which, if you don't know, I mean, that's like even the most exclusive private club is generally going to get more rounds than that. So when you visit, there's a good chance you're going to have the whole course to yourself, and that experience is really cool. Oh, and real quick, before we go too far into this, if you're not sure if Nemacolin's right for you and you're trying to figure out where you want to go on your next golf vacation, go take the quiz below. It's going to take you like 20 or 30 seconds. You're going to answer a few questions about what you're looking for, and I'm going to give you my best recommendation on where you should go based on your needs. I think it's going to be super helpful, and you can do it while you're watching the video. So links below, go check it out. All right, second big surprising thing is just how good the hotel accommodations are. So one of the things about Nemacolin I learned is that over the last 3 years, they have done some massive remodels. So outside of like some vacation homes and things like that, there's 3 main hotel options. The first being the Chateau. And while this looks like it should have been built in like 19th century France, it was actually built for the 10-year anniversary of Nemacolin, which was 1997. And it just received a massive remodel. So I didn't get to my room until like 11 o'clock at night due to some flight delays and various things going on. When I walked in, I literally said out loud, "Oh my God, what is this?" There was a massive chandelier. There was no less than 5 touchscreens. There was a Japanese toilet. There was a super fancy espresso maker, and there was even a cocktail kit. I had my own cocktail shaker, strainer, which you just don't ever see in a hotel room. Everything about this place was truly spectacular. And attached to the Chateau is the Grand Lodge, which also just last year got a renovation of its own. So now there are 56 rooms, which are all suites. They're all high-end. They are absolutely beautiful. So if you've got a family, if you're looking for a little bit more space, then that might be the way to go. And the third hotel is located about 5 minutes away at the golf courses, and it is called Falling Rock. So it's a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright that designed this thing, and it's beautiful. You walk in, and there's all these like angular Art Deco lines, and that theme is carried throughout, all the way out to the pool even, where you have a triangular-shaped infinity pool that's overlooking the golf course. This property has received both AAA and Forbes 5 Diamond, 5-star, whatever awards. It's one of the nicest hotels you will ever visit. So Nemacolin's like 2,200 acres in a rural area. So it's not like you're going to Pebble Beach where you're on 17-mile drive in Spanish Bay and the lodge, and there's all sorts of stuff happening outside the resort around you. To have these very 3 distinctly different hotels all on this property, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, is just kind of wild. And each one is unique enough that it's going to provide a different experience depending on what you're looking for and who you're going with, whether it's your golf buddies or a romantic getaway or your family. And the third surprising thing is that no matter where you stay, you get a butler. So no matter what, if you just want someone to carry your bags up, if you want someone to come and bring you a bottle of whiskey so you can use your fancy cocktail tools to make you something, if you want them to set up reservations for you, if you want them to do really whatever you want, they're there to do it. And they seem genuinely excited to do it. The service was phenomenal. Every single person I talked to during my 3 nights at Nemacolin, every person was excited to help. They were excited to be there. If they didn't like their job, they certainly didn't show it. But honestly, just the service and the experience and the people were so welcoming and so engaging. It just made for a really pleasant experience, and I had a number of wonderful conversations with people just learning about the area and what it was like there. 4, the food and drinks are on point. Whether it's the like fully fine dining Lautrec restaurant, whether it's the steakhouse Fawn and Fable, whether it's the seafood restaurant Aqueous, which, let me say, like you wouldn't expect like a resort on the border of West Virginia and Pennsylvania to have world-class seafood, but alas, they do. It was one of the best seafood meals I've had, from the raw bar to my salmon to scallops. Like it was really good. The whole trip I ate and drank so well. I was really surprised and happy to see just how many options there are for food and drink, because it is the kind of thing, like if you're gonna go there for a week, you don't want to be eating the same thing over and over again. So even if you have a family or picky kids, like there's lots of different places you're gonna be able to go to have not only great food, but a wide variety of food, and I just wasn't expecting that out of this place. All right, so number 5 is there's 2 distinctly different spa options. So if you're the type of person that likes to get pampered, don't worry, there are no shortage of ways to get pampered here. You've got the Woodland Spa, which is your traditional spa. There's a beautiful indoor pool. You've got hot tub, steam room, sauna. You've got massage. You've got, facials. You've got all the treatments you could ever want, and it's great. Right outside of that complex, kind of connected to that complex, there's the Paradise Pool where you can get cabanas and food, and there's a water slide. It's a beautiful pool, and there's also a separate adults-only pool in that whole area. So if you just want to spend a whole day going and sitting in pools and getting food and drinks and getting pampered and doing the massage stuff, you can do that here. It's located right outside the Chateau and the Grand Lodge, so it's super easy to access when you're staying at either of those places. But the more surprising spa option is the Holistic Healing Center. This is what you don't necessarily see at every resort. So they have a doctor of Chinese medicine on staff, Dr. Jerry Lin. I had a 2-hour consultation with him where we talked about all things health, lifestyle. He looked at some things that might be problematic, and we started to come up with a game plan, and then we did acupuncture, which I had never done before, but now I'm thinking I'm gonna go do some more of it, because it was honestly a much more enjoyable experience than I expected it to be. But if needles aren't your thing, you've got saltwater float tanks, you've got cryotherapy, you have a NovaThor red light system, which I did, which literally feels like a healthy tanning bed where you sit there and get red light therapy blasted into every cell for recovery. I don't honestly know what it does, but it was delightful just to sit in the warmth of it for like 20 minutes. So if you're someone who's really into biohacking, if you're someone that's really into physical activity and different ways to heal your body quickly, this healing center is honestly like one of the ultimate places in the country you can go to do that and to explore what some of those healing methods are. Number 6 is this place is an outdoor enthusiast dream. I was only there for a few days, but during that time, we went to a private fly fishing club where you get access to this creek that's private property. There's only 60 members at this club, but then you have this whole creek all to yourself to be able to go and catch fish. Because the resort has a relationship with this club, guests are able to go and do that. And yes, we even caught some fish, caught a brown trout, even though it was not necessarily the right season for it. So that was a lot of fun. The next day, we said, cool, let's amp it up a little bit. We went whitewater rafting on the Yacht River, which is one of the best whitewater rafting rivers in the world. But what was surprising to me was everybody was like downplaying it. They're like, I don't even know if I would do it. All the rapids are like class 2, maybe 3 this time of year. The river's super low. You're gonna have to get up and carry your boat. No, it was like legit whitewater rafting. Like, it wasn't the most extreme thing I've ever done, but it was definitely whitewater and it was definitely rafting. And there were definitely times where I kind of said, oh, that was like a little bit scary. And so the fact that the resort sets everything up, they deal with all the shuttles, they make it so easy to go and access all of these outdoor activities is great. So as part of this, as part of the resort, there's the Rod and Range Club, which is a fishing and shooting club that's only like 5 minutes from the resort. They have a world-class sporting clay circuit. You can go Jeep off-roading. There's so much cool stuff you can do. Hiking, biking, I mean, you name it. Like anything you want to do outdoors, you can pretty much do here. Number 7, biggest surprise, is just the idea of expecting the unexpected. So for instance, there was a hidden cigar room that had one of the biggest and best humidors I have ever seen. They recently turned an old sports bar into a jazz club, and this might have been the biggest surprise of all. Like this show that they put on, they do this Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, it was really good. And I'm like, we're in like the middle of like rural Pennsylvania, like this whole like Moulin Rouge thing that they're trying to do, it's probably going to be kind of cheesy and you're going to kind of feel awkward and be like, this actually isn't. No. If I saw this in any major metropolitan city, I would have been like, that was a really good show with very talented people. There was no less than like 12 different costume changes. And on the nights where they're not doing the show, there's a wonderful jazz band and they serve great cocktails. So the whole vibe of this place was just everything that I would not have expected to see in this location. So then you throw in like your butler, you throw in the fact there's a air museum and a car museum, and there's a hidden tea room that's like right off the lobby where everything in the room is blue. Everything from the walls, the floors, to the cups, to the plates, it's all blue. And they do high tea there. So if that's your thing, you should do that. So I think one of the most surprising aspects about Nemacolin was the fact that throughout the trip, I was just consistently surprised. And having traveled quite a bit, it takes a lot for me to feel that way, which is one of the things I enjoyed most about this place. I know this is getting kind of long, so let's wrap this up. But number 8 is it's a true year-round destination. Going back to the idea of surprises, I had no idea that you could ski there. Yeah, there's a lift that you could go ski on. But you throw in skiing, sledding, snowshoeing, all the winter activities on top of the golf academy where you can go play indoor golf, and the sheer amount of stuff there are for kids that are indoors, and you've got a truly special place. And I haven't even talked about the Peak. And so the Peak is located at that chairlift, and there is a massive pool overlooking insane views. The building is huge. There's bowling, there's axe throwing. It's like the ultimate like family hub of Nemacolin. So if you're looking for something casual and fun with the family, or if you're looking for a place to grab like beers and burgers with your buddies after a round of golf, the Peak is where to do it. And that was the very first place I went when I showed up, and I'm just walking around like, where am I? What is this place? And that feeling kind of continued on throughout this trip. My 9th point, we kind of touched on this quite a bit, is next level service. Like just the fact everywhere I went, it felt like people were genuinely happy to help me and happy to get me what I need. The service was truly 5-star. And 10, the reason above all else I think you should consider looking at Nemacolin is just the fact that it feels special. It feels unexpected. I don't quite know how to describe this place to people that haven't been there. It's like, in terms of amenities, service, luxury, it's every bit as good as any like Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton resort I've been to, but then you stack the sheer number of amenities on top of it, the sheer number of restaurants, the different accommodation options, and it just kind of becomes this world of its own. And I was just legitimately not expecting that. And to be clear, it's not cheap. It's very much a luxury resort. Peak season, you can expect room rates that are up into like $1,000 or more, which is a lot of money. But if you're truly looking for that high-end luxury experience, and especially if you're on the East Coast or somewhere within a driving distance of Pittsburgh, it is definitely a place that I would check out. With that, my name's Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here, Breaking 80, where we talk about cool golf courses and cool golf products. If you're trying to find another video to watch, I've got another one all about the 10 best luxury resorts I have ever been to. So you can go check that out here. Unfortunately, I shot this right before I went to Nemacolin because otherwise it would be on the list. I hope you have an excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.